Welcome in. It is another edition of the On the Mic podcast, and just a few days removed from another win added to her resume. She's back. It's been a while since she's been on the show, but she is the one and only Lauren Murphy. Lauren, congrats again on the win over Joanne Calderwood this past weekend. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Of course. Now, great fight, and it just continues to add to your title contending resume. How are you feeling after this?
I feel great. I thought it was a really good fight. I was happy that it was like really exciting. I'm glad that there was some like back and forth action. You know what I mean? Like it's always good to show some heart, I think, in your fights, and glad we came out with the win. I don't know. I thought all around it was a really good weekend.
Yeah, I would say so. And I think I know you well enough to say, I think what I love the most about you is like you stayed true to character, true to form, right? Like people were like, she needs to call out Valentina, blah, blah, blah. And you just paid all the respect to Joanne, and you just talked about how much you loved, how tough of a fight it was. And it was just simply just a great thing to see from you that you didn't break who you are as a person. Did you think about the champion at all after the fight?
No, because I think I was just so in the moment and so focused on the fight with JoJo that we didn't even really plan like a post-fight speech or anything. So I just said what was going through my head at the time, So yeah, we just focused so much on that fight with JoJo that I didn't have anything planned to call out the champion. But I feel like we're there anyway. I mean, I don't feel like I need to sit on the mic and say obnoxious shit after a fight. Like, you know what I mean? I think I've earned a title fight, like for sure. I've for sure earned it. You know what I mean? So
yeah, no, without a doubt, you've earned it. And I kind of love that. I mean, it was credit to you both for taking this fight. I know how active you want to stay. I know why you want to continue to add wins to your resume and why it's important for you to really showcase just how great you truly are. But was there ever a moment before this fight, leading up to this fight, where you were just like, should I have sat back and just waited for Valentina? Or did you just you didn't care?
Of course I wondered, like, did I make the right choice? I hope this was the right thing to do. And but at the end of the day, it is like scared money don't make money. So yeah, I don't know. Sitting out and waiting around in the UFC is usually not the right answer. You know what I mean? So I figured sooner or later I was going to have to fight somebody like not on short notice. You know what I mean? Like my last win was over a short notice opponent. So I knew I was gonna have to fight somebody tough, somebody that was like a former champion or title contender or something. I guess there's not any former champions in the division right now. But anyway, something like that. I knew I was gonna have to fight somebody tough to really justify a title shot.
I know you wanted to finish. I know you kind of talked about the finish earlier this week. Really, how close did you feel it was?
Yeah, I think there's just one or two little adjustments that I should have made that, after like watching the fight back, I'm like, oh, shit. Because there was just one or two little things that I could have done that I think would have negated, the trouble I was having getting around her grips and stuff. So it just in the moment, it was like, it was so close. I really thought it was going to come. And then the round was over and I was like, okay, let's do that again. And then I couldn't get to her hips again. So it's all good. It worked out. Like, if I could go back and do it, there's a couple things I would do differently, probably though.
Well, don't reveal the secrets, but no. And you kind of talked about, the 10-8 in that round two. And, I think a lot of people during the pandemic, I believe it's a conversation you and I had before, we were able to get such a like kind of spotlight on reffing and judging a lot. And now that, events are slowly opening back up and fanfare is back in the building and the energy's different, I think it's still talked about on social media, but I don't know that it's truly addressed in the broadcast as much as of recent. Do you still feel like there needs to be some like big changes or some addressing with judges and scoring?
No, I think the thing I would like to see would be I'd like judges to write down why they think a certain fighter won a certain round. So when they turn scorecards in between rounds, like they should have to put a little note, like it could just be a couple like words, like not even a complete sentence, just make some note about why you thought the red corner won or the blue corner won that round. Because I think it doesn't necessarily even need to be open scoring. Like I think they could share it after the fight if they want and still keep like the scoring secret during the fight. But I think that'd be pretty interesting to see like why judges give certain rounds to certain fighters. Cause I thought I won the first round, like pretty like decisively. Like, I don't know why a judge would give JoJo Calderwood the first round in that fight. You know what I mean? So
Right.
just stuff like that. It's like, I'd like to know what that judge was thinking.
Well, I've gone back and watched the fight. I didn't win any rounds, but I've gone back and watched the fight about 3 times since Saturday, and it's hard to argue with you there. You talked about having this like tough opponent and this big fight, with Joanne Calderwood. What does that mean for you? Obviously, there's no denying you're next for a title shot. I think that's crazy for anyone to suggest otherwise. But to have that tough fight, finish or no finish, to go the distance with someone like that and really get tested, what does that mean for you heading into a future matchup with Valentina Shevchenko?
I don't know. It didn't really prove anything to me. I've been being tested my whole career, really, I feel. So I've been passing tests like that for a long time. It's not like JoJo Calder was the first tough person I fought, not even in this division and not in my career as a whole. I've been fighting tough people since 2010.
And on short notice too. So yeah, definitely makes sense. One thing I really liked that kind of happened after the fight, not Saturday, but was earlier this week. Dean Thomas kind of talked about you and training, with you before an upcoming fight against Shevchenko. And, he kind of compared you to Brandon Moreno and just how your title opportunity is right there. I'm curious from your perspective, Lauren, like what working with someone like Dean would do for you, and just to hear his praise for you and how hard you've worked and how much you've earned this title shot opportunity.
Well, it always feels good to get some praise, especially from somebody like Dean, who's a well-respected coach. Tyson Chartier wrote to my husband too after the fight, and he had some really nice things to say, and that meant a lot to me too, because that he's amazing. Watching what his fighters can do in the ring is just incredible. So it's been pretty cool to kind of soak in some of that praise from people that really know what they're looking at. If Dean wants to come give some input and stuff, we would be more than grateful to hear what he has to say for sure and try to implement it. I really enjoyed working with him. I went out to St. Louis during this, like right at the beginning of this camp for JoJo, and I worked with Jillian a little bit. And it was just super fun, and he's a really nice guy, and he's really, really knowledgeable in the fight game. So yeah, it would be badass if we got to work with him.
Yeah, I know on SiriusXM, he said he loves training and he loves to travel. So if he had to come to Houston, he would. If he had to catch you in Vegas, he would. I think I love the pairing of you two and obviously the entire team that you have behind you. I'm going to take a step away from the fight game, though. Can I get a doggo update? Like what's going on with the dogs here?
Hold on just a sec. Let's see. There's one.
That honestly was one of my favorite stories of like the past year. And there you are, always surrounded.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Does it feel nice having the second one now?
Yeah, we love her. She's perfect addition to the family. So we just ran them outside right before the interview, so they're resting now.
Well, Lauren, I really am so incredibly happy for you. But now, like, where do you feel like you are at this point in your career? Obviously, without a doubt, a title shot. But you personally, everything, like you said, you've had tough fights since 2010. Has it kind of hit you that your moment is finally here?
No, I guess I don't really think about it like that, because I feel like the best is it hasn't happened yet. I don't even think we're peaking yet, to be honest with you. So I don't know. I guess I don't really think about it like that. Like every moment in my career has felt really up to this point. So for it just doesn't feel like any different than any other point in my career when I've had other big fights,
When you say you're not peaking yet, is that just from like a skill set standpoint? Is it just from where you want to be, what you want to achieve? Like, I'm not saying you are peaking. I'm just saying it's kind of crazy to think that there's so many more levels that you can unlock and achieve in your career.
Yeah, for sure. That's like the beauty of mixed martial arts, is just like how complex the sport is. But yeah, physically, mentally, technically, for sure. Like, I don't think we're anywhere near the peak technically. Physically, I think I have at least like a good another like 3 years in me at like the highest level, physically. Like I'm still getting more explosive. I'm still getting faster. I've always been super strong. Yeah, I don't feel like any of those physical attributes are going away. And really my mental game is getting sharper too. So I don't think we've hit the best Lauren Murphy yet. Not yet.
Well, I'm excited to see it and scared for your opponents when that moment does come. Have you had any conversations with Dana or the UFC about what's next and a potential timeline for you?
No, I hired a manager to do all that. That's Lou's job. Yeah, that's Lou's problem now.
I know Dana hates being asked about, making fights right after an event, but I really do feel, and I'm not just saying this because one, I consider you a friend, and two, you've been on the show so many times, but if you look at what 2021 has been for so many fights, so many big time fights, all the belts changing hands, I don't want to call them upsets, but obviously you had like Dustin knocking out Connor, and you had just so many like marquee moments in the sport. I think lining you up to face Valentina Shevchenko could offer us yet another one of those big marquee moments in the sport this year.
Yeah, I hope so. That's why people watch sports, for the upsets. Like there's been plenty of fights that have been made even recently where people didn't give the challenger a chance, not a chance in hell. And they go on to become a champion. So I hope that becomes my story too.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are rooting for that. But I think a lot of people also kind of defeat themselves before fighting with Valentina Shevchenko. They see everything she's capable of doing and everything that she's done, especially at 125. And she's already getting into her opponent's head without ever even really saying anything. This isn't Conor McGregor mental warfare from her, but just what she does inside the cage. What separates you from all the other title challengers she's had at 125?
I'm too thick-headed to be scared. No, I believe in my physicality. Like I believe in myself as an athlete for sure. And I believe in my team a lot. I really just think if they tell me what to do and we practice it a lot and then I go out and do it, I think I'm going to get my hand raised. It's been the rest of the bar, dude. It's worked for years. You know what I mean? It's been working. I'm 9-0 with Alex Cisne. I'm 5-0 with Bob Perez. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think I might get that tattooed on me somewhere, and just get your signature underneath it. I'm too sick-headed to be scared. That's incredible. I love that mindset. And again, I kind of praised it earlier from you, just the mental mindset you have with, like I said, a title opportunity coming your way. I know you have a manager who works it all out, but when do you realistically think you'd want to get back in there?
Probably October, because Derek Lewis is fighting in Houston in August. And so I'd really like it. He's fighting for the title. So I really like it if my team could just focus on him for his fight, put everything into it. And then they don't got to, the stress of like dividing the time between the two camps and stuff. Like it might give Bob Perez a heart attack. So we'll just let him focus on Derek, and then we'll use all of September. And then hopefully, Valentina and I could fight in October. Maybe even like Rhode Island or something. That'd be sick. We could go out to Abu Dhabi and do it.
Oh man, just crushed my dreams. I was gonna say, I know the UFC hinted at an event here in Chicago, and they were talking about later this fall or winter. I would say sign me up for that. But if you want to go to Abu Dhabi, where it's probably nice and beautiful in October, I'm all for that. Chicago's not beautiful in October. It'll be freezing cold by the time you get up here.
Yeah. I'm down for whatever though, but that would be cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I, again, love the fact that you're like, hey, my team's going to focus. I would love for my team to focus on Derek. And kind of, you mentioned them multiple times already, but kind of talk about this team that you have. I know, Dean said he'd like to work with you, but this team that you have and this run you've been on since, being with this team, what has been like the key factor to being with this team? And where do you see all the success coming from them with this team?
I think it's I put a team together from a bunch of people that didn't normally work together. So Bob Perez is from Main Street Muay Thai here in Houston, and he's my striking coach. And then my husband is my grappling coach. And then Alex Cisne is a guy that I've worked with for a long time, since 2013. And he's my head coach. He puts it all together. I work with a guy named Andy Galpin that's out in California. I think he's a professor at UC Fullerton, I'm pretty sure. And he runs the athletic department out there, and he's a genius. And so he also oversees my whole camp, and he puts together like my strength and conditioning schedule and all that. And then I have a guy here in Houston that like executes that with me. I have a sports psychologist named Jim Afromau, who I met in Phoenix several years ago, and I work with him quite a bit, which has been really cool. Oh, and then I have my nutritionist, Mateo, and he's also out in California, and he's really a genius. He's helped me a lot with these weight cuts and with the recharges afterward, and he's taught me a lot about how to eat better for myself in camp, like for performance. He's a performance nutritionist. So I would say Mateo and Andy Galpin have really changed my career a lot, like the physicality and the athleticism that I'm having like later in my career. That's definitely because of Andy and Mateo. And then, building on skill sets and having the ability to execute it, that's all Alex and Bob and Joe. So it really is. It does take a village, kind of. And these are guys that I've met over the years, and they're guys that are really, really good at all their separate jobs. And they all come together to work for me, basically. Like they work with me, obviously, and I do what they tell me to do. And they're all real invested in my career. And it's like they believed in me long before I believed in me. But it's cool to see it's all paid off now. Like we're going to go to the UFC championship. We have a fucking great shot of winning it. It's really the best team in the world. I believe that 100%.
And I love it even more because it's a team that you assembled. It wasn't a chasing the big gym or chasing, no disrespect to any coaches out there, but it wasn't chasing the biggest name or the biggest gym or whomever. It was like you knew what you needed and who you needed it from, and you assembled that and you put it together. And I think it's just another notch on the greatness of Lauren Murphy's belt. When you look back at UFC 263, being in Arizona, I know you spent a lot of time there, and and having the crowd back, like what was that all like for you this past weekend?
It was incredible. We had a great week. It was probably one of the best fight weeks we've ever had, huh? Yeah, it was pretty awesome. We had a lot of love in the crowd and a lot of friends who'd shown up. Like old training partners from the lab and stuff like that. Sean O'Malley let us like cruise up to his house and use his cage for a day, which was cool. Two of my favorite best girlfriends that I ever made in Arizona, Ashley Dubell and Shakira Lindsay, they came and hung out all fight week. They brought us anything we needed. Like they drove us around. They came and trained with me, like they did my fight week workouts with me and stuff. It was fucking cool, man. We really did hear, like, we felt a lot of love in Phoenix. It was like such good memories.
That is amazing. Now I gotta know if whenever the UFC comes to Chicago, I gotta put a cage in my house. I gotta get rides ready for everybody that might be fighting on the card. I gotta make people feel welcome here in Chicago. But in all seriousness, like, everything's just coming together for you, Lauren, and not that it wasn't in the past, but just to see just how high you're riding right now, especially at this point in your career. We've already talked a little bit about Valentina, but where do you think you pose the biggest danger to the champion?
I think there's a lot of areas that I pose a threat to her that none of the other girls have been able to impose on her. My grappling, for sure, like my top game in grappling, it's on another level. It's different than all these girls that are in the division. If I get on top of you, you're in for a long night. That's some heavy, heavy top pressure. And I'm glad I got to show that in the fight with JoJo, like if we had done one more round of that, we would have finished her for sure. So that felt good to know that my top game really is as dangerous as I think it is. I think I'm big for the division. I'm super strong for the division. I'm really, really durable. These are things that like these other girls at 125 haven't been able to present to her. A lot of them have gone out there and just tried to kickbox with her. Like, I don't know, Valentina has hundreds of kickboxing matches. I think that if you think you're going to like go out there and out kickbox Valentina, like I don't understand why anybody would go in there with that plan. So I think I bring something different to the table in that I'm a more complete fighter, and I'm going to have a more dangerous game plan ready for her.
Well, I truly think it's going to be one of the toughest challenges of her career. I cannot wait to see it. As always, you're so gracious with your time, and especially just a few days removed from one of the biggest wins. I got to ask before I let you go, though, what was it like being on that card? 2 title fights. We saw the little moment with you and Nate Diaz, who I think, like, I didn't think he could become a bigger fan favorite, but he just was like, he just did it all week. And then after the fight as well, no one's talking about Leon Edwards winning that fight. It's all about the big punch at the end. But like, that was such an incredible like fight night. I mean, just overall, top to bottom, your fight included, so many great things happened. What was it like for you being a part of that card?
It was badass. Yeah, we've been on a bunch of great cards. We were in the same locker room with John Jones when he fought out here in Houston. We were on a card with Khabib, on Fight Island. That was badass. Oh my God. And then, to be on this card and watch Marvin fight for the belt and stuff, I was really rooting for Marvin. Not that it's not even because I don't like Adesanya, it's because my nutritionist is Italian. And so I feel a little kinship with the whole Italian crew out there. But I was really rooting for Marvin. I thought he did exceptionally well against Adesanya. Yeah, it was cool. It was cool to be part of something like that. Brandon Moreno made into, like went viral this weekend. So that's cool. It's just cool to see all that stuff and be a part of it. It gives you hope. Like to someone like me, it gives me hope that might be available to me too,
Well, I don't speak for the entire country, but I can say on behalf of all Italians, we welcome Lauren Murphy and her crew with open arms, without a doubt. But to that point, and I just kind of want to ask about what Dean Thomas said. I know, obviously, we talked about his praises for you, but when he's kind of compared it to Brandon Moreno, you and Brandon Moreno, and like now is the title opportunity like it was for him. It is now that for you. When you saw what Brandon Moreno accomplished and kind of the joy that overcame him afterwards, which everyone is loving, and I want to start collecting Legos now. Maybe I'll be a champion in something one day. Like when you see all of that for Brandon Moreno, does it truly kind of like motivate you and inspire you a little bit?
Yeah, quite a bit, a lot. Yeah. That's like nobody gave him a chance. You know what I mean? He went through some hard times in the UFC, and to watch him come back and not just win the fight, but finish the current champion that people thought was unbeatable. Yeah, of course that's inspiring. Yeah. I don't think stuff like that isn't available to people like me.
Yeah, well, I continue to say, I can't wait to see it. Lauren Murphy, congrats on another win added to your resume. Can't wait for the announcement that, is right there in front of us, you and Valentina Shevchenko at some point later this year for the UFC flyweight title. I wish you all the best and hope we can talk before the fight.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Have a good day.